Okay, so this isn't a normal reaction. I'm going to look at 3 different videos, possibly 4. And I'm going to start with this guy here, how diversity got rid of competency. And I'm going to look at this guy here, offended outcasts, knowledge lost forever, why America can't fix anything some more, can't fix anything anymore. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Skyebrows community. So I'm going to cover a few related topics and tie them together, and I'm not going to watch the entirety of any of these videos, but just part of them. But basically, the message of this particular video is about the tension between niceness and meanness, about DEI and how DEI is related to over niceness in culture in general and to the competency crisis. So, the competency crisis is a big thing that affects all of America and many other places as well. And it predates DEI. And so even if we got rid of DEI, we might still have the competency crisis. And of course, the tension between niceness and meanness is also a big deal in the Skyebrows community right now. There's a controversy going on, and it's not going to be a controversy that ends, because we will always have niceness and we will always have meanness. Okay, so let's make this big. So this guy, I want to watch right near the end of his video first and then go and watch some of the middle, because he says the really good chunk of wisdom here is right at the end, where I'm going to show you here. Okay, let's listen to him.
They're the ones not competent enough to do a good job. The really rude ones, they can be rude. They're good at what they do. I used to have a saying, this has since been proven wrong, but this used to be one of Tom's laws. You can be really nice, but not very smart, and do okay in life, because everybody's going to say, well, at least they're really nice. Or you can be not a nice person and really smart, and you're going to do okay in life, because they're going to say, well, at least they know what they're talking about. You can't be dumb and mean. It's just going to be a hard existence for you. But I'm sorry. Those people they're doing real well these days, because they're just pretending to be nice. Anyway.
Yep. So there's people. And I am a nice person, but not one of those that's pretending to be nice. So because I genuinely like a lot of the stuff I praise. So anyways, let's look a little bit at the beginning of his video. I'm not going to really show it to you, but anyways, because the beginning is pretty long and not super relevant, but he talks about this deck that was built, and there's a lawsuit involved. It was apparently really incompetent, and he shows stuff about how this post attached to the house that's supposed to have a connection to the ground here, it doesn't really have a connection to the ground here. Let me get rid of closed caption and show you. Yeah, it's really bad. And then yeah, see, I'll let him show it to you.
Porch they put in, they bolted it this way. They never checked for plumb when they put the bolts in. Okay, in addition to not really having any support under this 6x6 that has to hold up the roof. Okay, now let's look at some other issues, because this just gets better.
Oh yeah, he covers a whole bunch of things here, including that this beam over here is doesn't actually sit on the post, but just has a joist holder up here. Yeah, it just has a joist holder up here, and there's a whole bunch of other issues with this. It's not clear whether this would even be able to hold up the roof extension if it were completed this way. It might just fall apart, and at great expense to the homeowner, And this guy, this contractor, he was a nice guy, but very incompetent, very incompetent. And this guy here isn't really sure whether it's incompetence or, you know, malice disguised by niceness, but probably just pure incompetence. He talks about a whole bunch of the problems here. And let's see. And then he eventually gets on, let's put on closed captioning again, try to find the, oh yeah, the guy, okay, so this is the place here, I think, where it starts. We want to hear him talk about his life stories here, about an old mechanic and a professor he had and stuff like that.
And just trying to figure out how to fix. This is just ugly stuff. And at the same time, earlier this week, there's all kind of road noise here, but earlier this week, Monday, before I started helping them with this, and this was out of town, so I just took the week off to come help them, and I'll probably be here next week. But I went to have my tailpipe fixed on my truck. Tailpipe had broke loose from the muffler, and I went by the muffler shop, and it wasn't a muffler shop anymore. All right, so the old man that ran the business, he either finally sold it or retired or passed away or something. I don't know, I hadn't heard. Okay, but the last time I talked to him, he was looking to sell the business and retire, and he was on up in age. All right, well, that particular old man, when I left there Monday and he wasn't there anymore, I felt bad, primarily because I knew I was going to miss just being able to go there and whatever and he'd done on an exhaust, he was just going to do it and do a really good job. I mean, it was going to be right. All right. With that said, he wasn't a very nice old man. I mean, he really wasn't. He was plain spoken, and he was the opposite of diversity. Whatever. If a woman had went to his shop, she would have swore up and down he was just sexist, misogynist, patriarch, all the bad terms you can think to call a man. She'd have swore he was all those. If a minority went to his shop, they would swear up and down he was racist. I mean, he was the stereotypical racist white male, old racist white male. Okay, except for he wasn't any of those things. He was just an ass. Let me rephrase that. He didn't have...
Yeah, some people are just mean to everyone, and it gets misperceived as sexism, racism, and other forms of bigotry. But some people are just mean. That's how they are. They're mean.
Have social skills. Okay, and that's something I've noticed in the past, is that so many people that are really smart and really competent and good at something, they so often don't have any social skills. Okay, that part of their brain, the part that controls interactions with people, it don't work. But they're good at what they do. Okay, and then I was thinking more about this, and I realized that so much of what we hear about as far as diversity, really, it isn't about racism. It's trying to get rid of mean people. Okay, that's basically what it comes down to. We don't want any mean people. All right, well, then you get into, well, what do you mean by mean? Because there are some racist people out there. There are sexists. Pick something. There's somebody out there that's that, of all races and colors and sexes and everything else. All right, but there's some people that they're rude. They're not mean. Again, they don't have social skills. Okay, well, we got rid of those people. That old man that retired from the muffler shop or so, whatever happened, okay, he couldn't get a job at any corporation. They'd bring him in for an interview, and first question, nope. He was salty. That ain't...
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that that when they try to get a job at a workplace that values niceness and social skills above anything else, and then what do you get? You get a workplace where everyone is nice and where there's a lot of socializing going on. Like, how many times have you gone into a store and you can't get the service that you need in the store, but you see little groups of employees standing around talking and laughing and ignoring you, and they're having fun. Yeah, they're having fun. They're being nice to each other. They're socializing, but they're not getting their job done. You know, how many times have you seen that? Mm-hmm.
Going to fly in a modern corporate work environment where everybody's got to be nice. He couldn't work at a Home Depot. And speaking of Home Depot, Lowe's, all those, while I was working on this, okay, night before last, I called Home Depot, and yeah, that was an absolute disaster.
Yeah, by working on this, he means he's trying to figure out how to fix what the other guy messed up. He's not the guy who made this in the first place. Just clarifying, since I didn't show you a large amount of the video.
To start with, their AI computer, that's what you get on the phone, except for I've decided it's no longer AI. I'm just calling it AS from now. It's artificial stupidity is what it is.
Yeah, so I praise some aspects of AI, and pretty much the whole Skyebrows community is mostly AI supportive, because, you know, otherwise we wouldn't be in the community if we weren't. But this is one aspect of AI that I think just about everyone hates, which is the AI that talks to you on the phone when you're trying to get customer service. Just about everyone hates that AI.
That intelligence part they add on to it, that's just marketing. It's AS. All right, so after I got done arguing with their AS, I finally got a person. All right, and she answered the phone, and she was very nice. And I told her what I needed. I need someone to go pull some joist hangers, and then someone's going to...
Yeah, the closed captioning messed up here. It means joist hangers, not joy hangers. So yeah, joist hangers.
Come pick them up here in 2 or 3 hours. She said, I can't do that. You need pickup. And I said, okay. Would you please transfer me to someone that can help me with this? Maybe to someone in pickup. And she said, I'll see what I can do. All right, she transferred me, and someone else answered, and I barely could understand a word that they said. I think it was, what do you want? Okay, and I told them what I wanted, which was I need somebody to pull some joist hangers for pickup here in a little bit. And that's all I heard. Okay, so next thing I know, I'm hearing people in the background laughing, and they're having a good time. They're just having all sorts of fun back in there. So quite a few.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. There's a lot of fun that happens at the workplace, and you can have a workplace that's fun and productive. That is possible. But when the fun and the niceness is prioritized, that dynamic is going to keep increasing at the expense of competency. Okay, let me go.
People. And they're talking about absolutely everything except for getting me some joist hangers. So I hollered out on the phone, hey, are you still there? And then that's when they realized I was still there, so they put me on hold. Okay, and then however many minutes later is when I hung up, and then I called back, and it just, I couldn't even get anybody then. So, okay, all of those people were really nice. Okay, the people working on this were really nice. Very.
Yeah. So it's like I've told my husband, it's like years ago, it used to be that you could call a store and you could get answers over the phone so that you didn't have to go there in person, that were pretty good, about the same as the answers you'd get if you actually walked into the store. But now, if you call a store and you ask, hey, is this particular thing in stock? Or, hey, what are the details of this sale? A lot of times they either don't know, or they put you on hold, or they want to transfer you to a call center in India, or they say, oh no, we don't have that thing, and then you go in the store later and they do have it. Or they say, oh, the sale works this way, and then later on you find out it works a different way. They just tell you whatever, and they're nice about it. They're nice, and they tell you something nice just to get you off the phone. And that's happening more and more. It's getting to the point where you can't call local stores hardly at all anymore. There's some of them that are still good, but a lot of them, it's just useless to call the store, and you got to go down there in person if you got a serious question. Okay, let's keep going.
Diverse group. All right, the people at Home Depot, that's the modern, corporate diversity, nice people, inclusive, all that, which is fine. Except for I sure miss competency from somebody. I mean,
whatever it is that you value in a society, you're going to get more of that thing. And if you value niceness and diversity, you're going to get more niceness and more diversity. If you value competency, you're going to get more competency. And you can't value too many things at a high priority, because you've probably got to have at most 5 things in a high priority in a society, because there's not room for everything at the top. So you got to decide what you most value in a society. Okay, let's go.
I'm not asking for too much here, I don't think. I like to be able to call a store and get somebody that they want to help. I like to see contractors build things well, and I like to go in behind them and see how they did it so I can learn something, because I'm not a contractor. I'm not a builder. I'm not a professional at this. And when they were asking me to come help, I was worried about it, because I was worried I'd make it worse. Okay, and I realized I can't make it worse. Then I started thinking about an instructor I had.
Yeah, you can't make it worse, because it was already so bad that he can't mess it up any more than it's already been messed up. And now he's going to talk about this Korean professor of his. Let me keep going.
Years ago, Dr. Kim. Okay, and nobody liked him. Okay, he was harsh, he was brutal. Okay, and Korean, very strong Korean accent. And Koreans, how do I put this? As a rule, it's sitting 100%, but as a rule, they tend to be very upfront and brutally honest. Okay? And he was. And the first class I had with him, I hated him. All right, and we had a little survey come in, I put down all bad marks, and he always got bad surveys. By my last class with him, and this was engineering classes, by my last class, I knew he was the best professor I had, period. Nobody else was even close. I learned more from him than all of the rest put together. I mean, he was just that good, he was that smart, he was that competent. He just expected you to walk into that classroom ready to learn. He didn't put up with anything. He would ask you at the beginning of the class, are you stupid? What college or university would hire a professor like that now? None. I mean, they would last a week. I mean, the first time a student ran to the administration building, he called me stupid. Okay, and he wasn't popular there, way back when. But it's because of him, in part, that I have a lot of the skills I have, and it's kind of helping me figure out some of this stuff and how bad it is. I hadn't even gotten into loads and can this even support the roof. All right, that's next. I'm just working my way up. But when I get to that, the things I learned from him are going to be very helpful. Okay, and I was thinking, how sad is that? And I think this is what it all comes down to. With diversity, that whole, we need diversity. All right, it started out as we got to fight racism, sexism, all the isms. Okay, and I get that. And there are some mean people out there that are racist, sexist, misogynist. You pick something. But it never, just somewhere along the line, I think the whole diversity movement just assumed competence would just happen on its own.
Yeah. So fighting racism is a good thing. Fighting sexism is a good thing. And there has been a lot of that stuff happening for decades. But the various movements and activist groups that do that fighting, that do most of that fighting, the really visible fighting, they got really weird 10 to 15 years ago. And they were a little bit weird before that, but they got really weird 10 to 15 years ago and have steadily declined into more and more weirdness. So, yeah, it's like you can fight racism and you can fight sexism and you can fight all the other kinds of bigotry, but you don't have to fight it in a weird way, and you don't have to, if you assume that competence will just happen on its own, it's not going to happen on its own. It's not going to. If the only thing that you want to do in society is fight racism, fight sexism, eventually you're looking for it with a microscope. You're looking for it with a microscope, yeah. Okay, so let's keep going.
And it didn't. And what it turned into is just a war on outspoken, brutally honest people. Asses. I mean, that's about the only way to describe them. I mean, but those were the competent people. And we lost them. Okay, I just got home.
Okay, so this is the part I showed you before. So we're going to go to the next video. So this guy, Offended Outcast, I've actually only reacted to him a couple of times. And in fact, in my very first reaction video, I covered Nux, him, and a little bit of other stuff. But this one, Knowledge Lost Forever, Why America Can't Fix Anything Anymore. So he mentions this a little bit in a bunch of his videos, but this video he's got devoted to it. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of it here. Let me show you.
America is slowly becoming a country that can't fix anything anymore. You notice that? And I mean it as an observation here. Because there was a time, I think, in this country when fixing things was just part of our daily life. If the lawnmower broke...
Yeah, fixing things and building things, which are related talents. Fixing and building things. Okay, let's go.
Well, you fixed it. And if the washing machine stopped working, you opened it up and you figured out what was wrong. If the car had a problem, well, you grabbed a wrench and you got to work. And if you didn't know how to do it, well, you knew somebody who did. Your dad, your uncle, your neighbor down the road, or the older fellow who lived in town who had been fixing things his whole life. I remember those days quite clearly. You see, knowledge lived in people. Skills lived in people. And those skills were passed down from one generation to the next. But something has changed over the last few decades. Something pretty big. Because today, when something breaks, well, most people don't fix it. They replace it. Or they look up a video online and hope someone on the internet can explain it step by step. And that got me thinking, guys. What happened to the generation that actually knew how to do these things? Well, I think the answer is quite simple. They're still here, and they're us, our seniors. But the strange part is their knowledge has been pushed to the side, and much of it is quietly disappearing.
Yeah, by quietly disappearing, he means that the people are passing away. The people, they're getting old. Some of them are getting senile, so they're losing the knowledge and the competency before they even pass away as well. But yeah, they're passing away. They're dying. Okay, let's go.
After all, every generation grows up in the world that they're given. That's true. The world shapes them, just like it shaped us. But I do think it's worth asking the question here. How did we go from a society of practical skills to a society where so many people feel helpless when something breaks? Because if you stop and think about it, well, that's a pretty dramatic shift. You see, for most of our history, knowledge moved in one direction, from the old to the young. And that's how civilizations worked. After all, our grandparents taught our parents, and our parents taught us. And skills were passed down through watching, helping, and doing. And you didn't learn something by reading a manual. I grew up in my dad's body shop. I was wet sanding and taping cars when I was 7 years old. And so he passed that skill on to me. And I treasure that knowledge to this day. And I still use it. You see, you learned it by standing beside someone who had done it 1,000 times. You watched their hands. You listened to their explanations. And eventually you tried it yourself. And maybe you messed it up the first time, and maybe on the second time as well. But eventually, you see, it started making sense. And before long, well, that knowledge became part of you. And I remember growing up around people who could fix almost anything. My dad and my grandfather were very good at this. Engines, tools, furniture, plumbing, electrical work. And no, they weren't specialists. Just everyday people. Farmers and mechanics and tradesmen. People who had learned through years of working with their hands. And if something broke in the house, you didn't throw it away. You took it apart. You figured out why it stopped working, and you fixed it. And maybe it wasn't fun, but it was necessary. Replacement wasn't always an option for us. You repaired things because that's what responsible people did. Now let me ask you something. Think back to someone older in your life. Maybe it was your father or your grandfather. Maybe a neighbor or a teacher.
So anyways, he's got a lot of good stuff here, but I don't want to just watch his whole video. The link for all these videos will be in the description. So I wanted to move on a bit. So the competency crisis, DEI, and all this is related, and the tension between niceness and meanness. Yeah, remember this guy? He says you can't be mean and dumb and succeed in the world, but you can use a lot of niceness to cover up incompetency. So anyways, I wanted to talk. There's a kind of controversy going on in the Skyebrows community right now. And if you don't know what that is, so it's around the, let me go. I'll show you Skyebrows himself. Let's look. So this guy, Skyebrows, A really popular AI video creator makes AI music videos. And there's a community that's been growing around Skyebrows. Some of us are reactors only. Some of us create the videos that are inspired by Skyebrows, and some of us do both. I've got 449 videos on this list of Skyebrows material that I might react to someday, although it's probably unrealistic that I'm going to react to all of these Skyebrows related videos. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a ton of these things. And I've already reacted to more than 200 of these. Yes, already reacted to more than 200 of these. So these are the unreacted ones that are sitting on this list, waiting for me to eventually get around to them. Yes. And anyways, there's been a controversy in the Skyebrows community because a lot of us are reactors and video makers, and I'm not a video maker yet, but maybe I will be. There's this controversy, and there's controversy between nice and mean. So nice critics and mean critics, and how do you decide which harsh criticism to take and which harsh criticism not to take? So anyways, and a lot of people in the Skyebrows community have put out videos on it, like Keen has toxic positivity versus toxic criticism, and I was actually on that stream as one of the guest speakers. And anyways, and the videos keep coming out in the Skyebrows community about it, and this is one by Lily Fernwild. I'm going to show you a little bit of it here.
Objective value judgment, and even the quote-unquote worst art can still be good and meaningful to the right person. At the very least, you should value your own creations, even if later you are able to look back on them and recognize their flaws. You should not be embarrassed of or hate your own art. You should be grateful for everything you were able to produce, because creativity is a gift that you are blessed to have, and the products of creativity are also blessings.
Yeah, and when you're talking about creative works, instead of building a deck on a house, it's really difficult to figure out how to decide whether that creative work is good or not, because this deck, you can say if it doesn't follow certain principles, or if it actually collapses, then you can say this is a bad deck. And this guy actually even pointed out there were a few things that were done really good on this deck, like these 10 by 10s as the floor here. This makes a really good support under the floor. They were going to put the boards in the wrong direction, which was bad, but the support under those floorboards was going to be real good, except for, the posts being messed up and the joists being messed up and some other problems. So you can look at a bad deck and say, this is a bad deck. But when you look at a creative work, how do you say that it's bad? And it's like Lily Fernwild says, if it comes from your true creativity inside you, it has something good in it, and it should be valuable to you yourself. And it does have a purpose, and it is a blessing. And what you want to do with it, if there's something specific that you want to do with it and it doesn't do that thing well, you can say that it failed to reach that target. But you can't really say it's bad except in relation to a particular target. And hopefully, even if it can't reach that target, hopefully it's something that satisfies you as a hobby project, as something that you can look at and you can say, well, even if not very many people saw this, or even if a bunch of people saw it and half of them really didn't like it or whatever, I liked it and I had fun making it, and it's a good thing that I'll be glad, years later I'll look back at this thing and I'll say, that was a cool little thing and I'm glad I made it. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to be a bit egotistical here, and I'm going to read part of my own comment. Yeah, look at this giant comment that I left here. So I'm going to read part of it. Some of it isn't really all that relevant. And of course, this link will be in the description too, the link to this video by Lily Fernwild. And I'm going to read part of my comment here. Oh yeah, I want to read something about nice criticism here. So this is my own comment. Ironically, I do not hear much about how to handle nice criticism that you suspect could be overly nice, other than the oft-repeated, don't believe it is great just because your mother says it is great. She is your mother and biased to love everything you create advice. Yeah, I've heard that piece of advice a lot. Don't believe your mother when she says it's great. Okay, and then reading my own comment again. Because of this, I was glad to see the title of this video of yours. Let me show you the video title briefly so you know what I'm talking about. How to take criticism from anyone, not just your friends and Skyebros. And the people inside the Skyebrows community are called Skyebros, even when they're women such as myself. Okay, so let's go back to my comment. Okay. Here it is. Because of this, I was glad to see the title of this video of yours. Seeing criticism from only your friends is not a healthy critical environment, and it can easily be perceived by the outside world as corrupt. Right now, the community is not large enough or old enough for the smaller video creators to get hardly any critical attention from people outside the community. So it is not our fault if most of the criticism is coming from inside the house, so to speak, but this can easily be seen as corruption by people outside the community. Very soon, the outside world will start paying more attention to the community growing around Skyebrows, and they will judge us according to superficial impressions that they form without much digging or time spent. Yes, the community is growing. It has a few growing pains. I think it is a healthy community overall, and I think it's going good places. But it's true that with reactors and creators, including reactor creators inside the community, that I'm sure that we're going to get flack for criticism coming from inside the house. People are going to say it's too nice. Even if it's not too nice, they're going to say it's too nice. And it's also true that criticism from your friends, it's not as suspect as criticism from your mother, which is going to be too nice of a criticism. But criticism from your friends is, a little bit suspect. So anyways, let me go on with egotistically reading my own comment here. Okay, so I do intend to create animated music videos myself. Although I haven't yet, I've only created personal story ramblings over AI still pictures. And I have thought about how to avoid not just the corruption of maybe people I have reviewed feeling pressured like they have to like my stuff, but also the perception by the outside world that there might be some corruption or mutual back-patting involved. To go back to the perception that the outside community is going to have about the Skyebrows community, there's going to be a lot more random strangers who are going to notice us and our work, and they'll notice that there are reactors who are reacting to videos nicely, and I think I'm mostly a middle of the road reactor, but kind of on the nice side. At the very least, when I have the mean criticisms, I try to put them in language that sounds a little bit better. But anyways, there's a lot. I like a lot of the Skyebrows material. I honestly like it. Like I'm not pretending to like it because I'm trying to be nice to my friends. You know, I genuinely like about 75% of the Skyebrows related videos a lot. So just genuinely like them a lot. The remaining 25% of them, there's usually at least some aspect or part of the video that I like. And there are very few videos that I actually just hate the video. There's very, very few like that. But when the outside world sees me enthusiastically liking, you know, maybe 75% of the stuff, they're going to be, thinking, is this mutual backpatting? And look at this. So I'm going to go back to egotistically reading my own comment again. Okay, so I think that when I start releasing music videos, I will make a rule for myself that when a Skybro reacts to a music video of mine, then I will not react to any of their stuff for a month. This is just a personal rule that I'm thinking of implementing for myself, because I'm one of the people with the largest number of SCU reactions, and SCU is the Skyebrows Cinematic Universe, if you're, someone from outside the community who's watching this video of mine. And then going back to the comment, so if I start reacting to others' videos right after they reacted to mine, it will possibly be a conflict of interest, or at least be perceived that way by outsiders who only spend a few minutes looking at the situation. Yeah, it's whenever there's a conflict of interest, you can't just try to avoid the conflict of interest itself. You also have to avoid anything that is perceived as a conflict of interest. And so I'm done with that comment of mine now. But I did want to go back and let's look at all the videos I've reacted to. Where are they? Oh, here it is. Okay. So a lot of Skyebrows related videos that I've reacted to. See, 218 that I have reacted to. And so yeah, I've been, there's a lot of Skyebrows related material out there, and a lot of it is super high quality. I mean, this is not AI slop. This is 100 times better than the average AI slop that you see on YouTube. And there are people that spend like 100 hours editing and tweaking one video. Yes, there are. There are people who spend 100 hours editing and tweaking one video. Yeah. So, but I did want to talk about, there's an aspect of niceness that I don't think people have been discussing. So people have been discussing about how too harsh criticism can hurt. And I agree, it can hurt. Like it can cause toxic perfectionism, where you're afraid to release works that are actually good, or you just keep picking at the same work over and over again until you've basically ruined it with over editing or taken all the creative fire out of it or something like that. I've talked about that. But there's also niceness that can hurt. And I want to talk about a specific aspect of that niceness that can hurt. So anyways, in the Skyebrows community with all these videos, a lot of the earlier ones were made completely for free, because there were a lot of AI video creation tools then that were free. And usually you couldn't create more than like 6 seconds or so, but you could use like the last frame of the first 6 seconds to sort of start the next 6 seconds and sort of make things that were longer that way. And of course you'd edit it all together. And So a lot of people were able to make extremely impressive music videos for completely free. And now the video creation tools that are AI have gone away. They've either gone away altogether, or they're behind paywalls now where you have to pay for them. And the still pictures, some of that you have to pay for. Some of it is still free, but there's usually a throttle on it so that you can't make too many at once and stuff like that. So if you're stuck in a situation where you have to make 80 generations for one usable, still picture, or one usable few seconds of animation, it can get really pricey. And this is where the nice criticism that hurts comes in. Is there are people now that are starting to spend money on this, and sometimes it's just a little bit, sometimes it's a huge amount. And I don't want to judge people for doing that. I think that if people can afford it, they should be free to do it. And if people can't afford that, I don't think that taking a financial risk is always unwarranted. I mean, sometimes there have been people the creative people that have taken financial risks in the past and had it pay off big time. So I don't necessarily want to tell people to never take a financial risk. But there is a problem with this nice criticism. So I imagine sometimes there might be a situation where there was something I was praising a lot, and it was genuinely good, and I genuinely liked it. But maybe, and there's a lot of people like that. I'm not talking about any specific person. If you've seen my reactions, you've seen how many of these things that I have praised a lot. So I'm not talking about any specific person here. I'm just talking about a general idea I have. So anyways, I have this idea that maybe 6 months or a year from now, someone that I praised a lot with their AI music videos will come to me and say, hey Penny, you praised me a lot, and I thought I was going to succeed. I was going to become a paid professional, and I took a big risk. I paid for the, let's say, the $250 a month AI or whatever it was that they couldn't afford, and that person will say, hey Penny, that risk, it bankrupted me, it bankrupted my family, you put me through a lot of suffering by overpraising me. I imagine that there might be something like that happens, and I don't want something like that to happen. And that's one of the reasons why, even though I heap a lot of praise on a lot of people, I worry about it. I'm like, what if I'm hurting people by heaping praise on them? I really hope that if people are out there paying for something they can't afford, or that they can barely afford in terms of AI tools, I hope that they're in a situation where if it never works out, or if it takes a lot of years to work out to make money, I hope they're in a situation where they can be like what Lily Fernwild was talking about here, where they can say, well, it was worth it as a hobby. I don't have regrets. I produced something that showed my creative spark and that I like, and it was worth it as something that I produced at a hobby level and having fun with my friends level. So I hope that anyone that is paying for AI tools is in this situation where they feel like if it doesn't work out, they can walk away with it and say to themselves, no regrets. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed giving this gift of my creativity to other people, and it was some good stuff. that I'm still proud of today. I'm not ashamed of it. Yeah, like she says, don't be ashamed of your work. So I'm hoping that my nice criticism, I'm hoping that it doesn't hurt anyone. And there's others with nice criticism, and I'm hoping that their nice criticism doesn't hurt anyone. When a community like the Skyebrows community is growing this fast, and all kinds of things are happening, there's scandals that come along as a natural consequence of growing and being big and being visible, and we're becoming bigger and we're becoming more visible. And I think that one of the types of scandals that's going to happen at some point is that someone is going to come forward and say, I way overspent on these AI tools and it destroyed me financially. I think someone is going to do that, probably more than one person as time goes on. If I don't even know how many it might happen to, but eventually as the years go by. But I really hope that friends enjoying each other's work does not lead to anything as tragic as that. I hope that we can all look at each other's works and say, yeah, we're enjoying this, and all making good financial decisions about what we're spending and what level of risk we are truly comfortable with. I hope that we are all doing that, and I wish the best for the Skyebrows community. I really do wish the best for all of us. Look at all these videos. I just really enjoyed so many of these great videos. Like 75% of this stuff I really enjoyed. Look at all this. Yeah, look at all this. Amazing stuff. Yeah, yep, so good. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and all the links will be in the description. Love all you guys, the Skyebrows community. Love all you guys, and whoever is watching this video from outside the Skyebrows community, I hope that you have good opinions of us, and we are trying, and we're not making AI slop. We're really making something on a different level. We're following the dream that Skyebrows started, where he is not making AI slop, and we're going forward. Thank you for watching.